What's up, guys? Rogue9 here. Just kidding. If only, right? No, this is Surge Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the extended barrel. You see this nice spreadsheet zoomed out view? So, the extended barrels just got buffed as of yesterday. Well, as of me recording yesterday. So, what does the new damage stats look like, and how does it affect the shots to kill? That's what we're going to be looking at today. So, I went into the shooting range and tested all of the damage for all of the weapons at all of the ranges. It did indeed take quite a bit of time. I probably could have done math for it, but I wanted to make sure the values were actually right, and these are indeed all of the actual values. As you can see here, though, some of the weapons do the exact same damage. For example, the PDW-9, FMG-9, and 9x19 VSN, also known as the Vityas, they do the exact same damage at the exact same ranges. Probably the most egregious example being the K1A, AUG-A3, Commando 9, and UZK-50GI, all doing the exact same damage as the 9mm C1. In order to simplify things, I just put the name of the most relevant gun, aka the first gun that shows up in chronological order, and just put the number of pluses indicating how many extra weapons. If you want to know what those weapons are, you can refer back to this table at the beginning of this video. So here are all the damage values, but obviously the amount of shots to kill is going to be impacted by whether or not you're playing against 2 speeds, 3 speeds. And before we even get to the shots to kill, I want to immediately clarify that we're going to assume that for all of the shots to kill values, that your target is at full health. If the target isn't at full health, then obviously the amount of shots to kill would be vastly different. So we're going to assume that all of the targets are at full health. Alright, let's get right into the stats. So here we have the amount of shots to kill for a 3 speed. And how I calculated the shots to kill is I simply divided the amount of health that that target would have by the amount of damage that this weapon does at this exact range. The first 4 values are for without the extended barrel, and the next 4 values are with the extended barrel. I'm sure a couple of numbers have really stuck out for you, notably the P90 and the Vector requiring an unholy 8 shots to kill at long and max range. However, that does drop down to 5 shots to kill if you have the extended barrel. Don't worry, we'll talk about that in the summary. Same goes for the 5.52 Commando, Mark 17, and Para 308. Ooh, 2 shots to kill against 3 speeds. That is pretty substantial. Here we have the shots to kill difference, which basically is we just took the damage that that weapon does at that range without the extended barrel and subtracted it by the damage it does with the extended barrel. The higher the number, the less shots to kill is required from the use of the extended barrel. This is where you get to see the P90 Vector and even the T5 SMG benefiting a lot from the extended barrel at max range, requiring a wholly 3 less shots to kill than if you didn't use the extended barrel. Moving on, we have the shots to kill for a 2-speed without Rook Armor. And here are the shots to kill difference for a 2-speed without Rook Armor. And we have the shots to kill for a 1-speed, and the shots to kill difference for a 1-speed without Rook Armor. Now these are some interesting stats. This is the difference sum, which basically means that at that exact range value, we took the shots to kill difference and added them all together for all of the different armor types. So this is the shots to kill difference for a 1-speed, plus the shots to kill difference for a 2-speed, plus the shots to kill difference for a 3-speed, all added up together. Obviously, these numbers by themselves are kind of meaningless because, you don't really know at what range the shots to kills are going to be, but it gives you a general idea of how effective the extended barrel is going to be. And here we did basically the exact same thing, but we took the average, which is basically this number divided by 3. So on average, you're going to require a third less of a shot to kill if you use the extended barrel and you're using the G36C, F90, or 416C at 10 meters or 20 meters. And here we have something that is particularly useful, benefits most against at close and mid-range. And these numbers here are meant to signify at what health rating. So for example, for the MP5K, as you can see, we have the number 1, which means that for the 1 speeds, our amount of shots to kill is going to actually go down. And as you can see by looking at this right here, shots to kill difference for 1 speed, both for 10 meters and 20 meters, that value is 1. I only included it if it was for both 10 meters and 20 meters. If it was for one or the other, then I didn't include it as most effective. I'm assuming you've immediately noticed that the spear has none, which means that if you're at close and mid-range and the target doesn't have Rook Armor, your amount of shots to kill isn't going to be affected, no matter what, assuming the targets are at full health. On the complete opposite side of that, we have the Vector and the Bearing 9, which for 2 different instances is going to have the amount of shots to kill at close range be affected. Next up, we have the shots to kills for 3-speed with Rook Armor. So this is basically the same thing before, except we added an extra 20 health to indicate Rook Armor. And oh, by the way, when I say Rook Armor, this also applies to Finka Boost, because Finka Boost also gives you 20 extra health, though that number does decay, so it's going to be a little bit less consistent, but still, Rook Armor is also synonymous with Finka Boost. So yeah, like I said, here are the shots to kill for a 3-speed with Rook Armor. Here's the shots to kill difference for a 3-speed with Rook Armor. Here are the shots to kill for a 2-speed with Rook Armor. The shots to kill difference for a 2-speed with Rook Armor. The shots to kill for a 1-speed with Rook Armor, which is the maximum health in this current list. As you can see here, the Vector, the P90, ooh, wow, 12 shots to kill at max range. That is a lot of shots. And the shots to kill difference for a 1-speed with Rook Armor. However, the Vector particularly tends to gain a lot, 5 reduced shots to kill at max range when you're using the extended barrel. And of course, here's the same thing as before, the difference sum. And here we have basically that number divided by 3. And here we have all of the benefits most again. As you can see, most of these numbers are completely different. The G36C++, for example, now is best against 3 speeds rather than being best against 1 speeds previously without the Rook Armor. There are now a lot more scenarios where the extended barrel is actually going to be useful when you're facing opponents with Rook Armor or with the Finka Boost. Probably the most notable example is the Vector. Regardless of the health status of your opponents, if they have Rook Armor or if they have a Finka Boost, you're guaranteed to get 1 less shot to kill at close and mid-range. And honestly, at longer ranges too, but especially at close and mid-range. Now here's something interesting. We have the shots to kill difference for armor versus no armor. What that means is that I took the value of the shots to kill with Rook Armor and subtracted it by the shots to kill without armor, and we can kind of see how much extra shots to kill the Rook Armor requires at the specific ranges for the specific weapons. The higher the number, the more shots to kill, which is bad. As you can see, the P90 and the Vector got particularly nerfed at max ranges when you're using Rook Armor. So yeah, here's the shots to kill 3-speed, and here we have the shots to kill difference. Basically what that means is we took the value with the extended barrel and subtracted it by the value without the extended barrel. The lower the number, the better, because it means that the extended barrel is more effective than it would be regardless of the Rook Armor. Here we have the difference for a 2-speed. Here's the difference for a 2-speed. We have the difference for a 1-speed. Look at all of these 2s. And we have the difference for a 1-speed. A lot of 1s up here. And even more complicated, we have the difference sum, which means we basically took the shots to kill difference at a specific range for that specific damage, and we added all of them together to see what number we would get. As you can see, the MP5 is particularly unfazed by the presence of Rook Armor. And here we have basically that exact same thing, but divided by 3. So here is our long summary. The extended barrel's original purpose, to make weapons more viable at longer ranges, still mostly applies. In fact, the extended barrel is going to reduce your amount of shots to kill at longer ranges more often than it's going to reduce your shots to kill at close ranges. I mean, just take a look at this chart. A lot of the large numbers are coming from the longer ranges. Also, the extended barrel, on average, is much better against defenders without armor versus with armor, meaning that armor, more often than not, negates the benefit of the extended barrel. When against 3 speeds without armor, the 5.52 Commando, Para 308, and Mark 17 are the best weapons to use with extended barrel, being the only weapons on this list to kill with just 2 shots up to long range, with the M4 also being strong. And that was something I kind of touched on earlier. Look at this, the 5.52 Commando Plus, 2 shots to kill up to 30 meters. The M4, 2 shots to kill up to 20 meters. The extended barrel turns the M12 from an inconsistent 3 to 7 shots to kill to a reliable 3 to 4 shots to kill, except against 1 speeds with armor at max range, where it is a 5 shot to kill. As you can see here, the M12 does require 5 shots to kill if they are 1 speed with Rook Armor at max range, but other than that, it's a consistent 4 shots to kill or 3. Something else I also kind of touched on is the fact that the Vector benefits the very most by the extended barrel at long to max range, with the P90, T5, and MPX not far behind it. As you can see, on average, you're saving 3 shots to kill from the P90 at max range, 2.67 shots to kill with the MPX, 3.33 shots to kill with the Vector, and 2.67 again shots to kill for the T5 SMG. However, that does not mean you should be using these weapons as your go-to choice at range, because it's still a bad choice. The number of shots to kill is still higher relative to other SMGs. As you can see, the Vector still requires 6 shots to kill at range. Most other SMGs only require 4 or 5. So even though it benefits a lot from the extended barrel, getting the number of shots to kill reduced by 4, for this specific instance being 1 speeds, it does not mean that you should be using the Vector at long range exclusively. It just means that if you are going to be using it at range anyways, definitely use the extended barrel. Another thing I kind of touched on a little bit, the Spear 308 does not benefit at all from the extended barrel at close to mid-range, except for against 2 speeds with Rook Armor, but otherwise, don't use it. You can clearly see this by looking at the different sum. For the Spear with no armor, 0, and you only see one instance of it negating any damage with Rook Armor, that being with 2 speeds. So basically, if you're using the Spear at close range, don't use the extended barrel unless if they happen to have a lot of 2 speeds with Rook Armor. It's not going to reduce your amount of shots to kill. Here's another important note. The majority of attacker weapons, which is all except the POF-9, do not benefit from extended barrel against 2 speeds in close to mid-range. So basically, if you know you're going to be fighting in close range and the enemy team has a lot of 2-speed characters and they don't have Rook, then the extended barrel is useless for the vast majority of these weapons, with the exception only being the POF-9, where you're going to see 1 shot less to kill. When playing against defenders with Rook Armor, the F2 is particularly nerfed against 2 speeds. Particularly nerfed meaning, in the vast majority of scenarios, it will require more shots to kill than without the armor. You can see this in action by looking at the shots to kill difference with Rook Armor versus without armor. Taking a look at the F2 specifically, you can see this in action. At all possible scenarios, except for with an extended barrel at max range, adding Rook Armor is going to increase the amount of shots to kill. The same also applies to the PDW-9, again against 2 speeds. Look at all of these 1s. Although this time, it's actually a fairly common stance where it's without the extended barrel and at very close range. And the exact same thing you see with the Spear against 1 speeds. As you can see here, in all scenarios except for at max range with an extended barrel, you're going to have an increase in shots to kill when you add Rook Armor. Also, I didn't make a note of this, but look at the MP5K too. Wow, that's crazy. I mean, of course, again, Rook Armor, you're not going to see that very often when you're playing as a defender. Finger boosts are very situational, so I didn't try and focus on those, but, you know, imagine if they did pick up the Rook Armor. The P90, you are guaranteed to see a shots to kill increase, sometimes 2 shots to kill. Moving on from that, on the other hand, the C8 SFW is the exact opposite. It is virtually unchanged against 3 speeds, as well as the M4 against 2 speeds. That means in the vast majority of scenarios, the armor was not going to affect the shots to kill. Here we have the C8 SFW. Look at all of these zeros. It's only affected at max range with extended barrel. And you see the exact same story with the M4 against 2 speeds. So basically what I'm saying is, if they have Rook Armor and they have a lot of 3 speeds, if you use the C8, your damage is basically not going to be affected. If they have a lot of 2 speeds, your damage is basically not going to be affected. I might delete that whole last part that I was just talking about. I don't know where I got this 552 commando stat from. I don't know where I got it from. It's not even that good of a stat. I might delete these 2 right here just because, or at least I'll move them down and not include it as part of the video just because it just doesn't seem that useful. The R4C and the POF-9 benefit especially well from the extended barrel against defenders with Rook Armor at close to mid-range. You can see that in action right here with the average shots to kill difference being 2/3 for the R4C and POF-9, the only weapons of which are on the attacking side. The PDW-9, FMG-9, and 9x19 VSN benefit on average less from the extended barrel at mid-range against armor versus without armor, meaning the armor negates the benefit of the extended barrel for those 3 weapons. This is most apparent just by looking at this value right here, 0.33 at mid-range for those 3 weapons. Same goes for the MP5K in close range, the Bearing 9 and SP-SMG-9 in close and mid-range, and the F2 and R4C at long range. Basically, it's all of these red values right here. MP5K at close range, bearing 9 and bearing 9 and SPSMG9 at close and mid range, and the R4C and F2 at long range. In conclusion, yes, we have a conclusion to the summary. The Vector MP5K P90 bearing 9 and SPSMG9 bearing 9 plus SPSMG9 because they have the exact same damage values are must-haves for the extended barrel. You're basically going to always want them. This is because for those weapons in particular, on average, you're going to see a 2/3 shot to kill difference or higher if you're within 20 meters. On the other hand, the extended barrel in the spear is largely useless. This is because there is only one scenario where you're even going to see a shot to kill difference at all, and that is against 2 speeds with Rook armor. As for the rest of the weapons, you're only going to see a shot to kill difference a third of the time on average, especially for assault rifles at the most common combat ranges, that being 0 to 20 meters. As you can see, there's a lot of 0.33s over here, and a handful more 0.67s, but still a lot of 0.33s. The usefulness of the extended barrel will depend on the health and armor status of the enemy team, giving attackers a significant choice advantage if they can find out who the defenders are playing and if they have Rook armor. But for the defenders, if you know the other team likes to play Finka, then the extended barrel helps on average more for the SMGs than the assault rifles. Also, if the defenders have a Rook, the R4C and the POF9 are the most likely to see a benefit from the extended barrel. That is it for all of the assault rifles and SMGs. However, there is one weapon I did not mention, which is the FO12. I didn't put the FO12 in here because it does shots per pellet and it messes the entire chart. Everything would either be red or green and everything would be all messed up. But here's the gist. The extended barrel boosts the damage of the FO12 from 18 points per pellet at close range and 8 points per pellet at all other ranges to 21 points per pellet at close range and 13 points per pellet at all other ranges. This means that the average required pellets to kill drops by 5.333. With 8 pellets per shell, that's exactly 2/3 less of a shots to kill difference on average. Well, considering the only other options are a suppressor and nothing, using the extended barrel is basically a no-brainer. That is it for the end of this video. I hope you guys found it useful. I hope you now know which weapons to use the extended barrels on and which ones you're probably not going to need them. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care and peace.